Day all. Back after a little bit of a break for family and life things. So let's get started with our Rivals of Ixalan Friendly Sealed League. So I've already played one of these, and it didn't go so well. I definitely bombed right out of it, which was a bummer. But that's going to happen sometimes. So let's see what we got. Let's split this out just by rarity here. Let's see what we've got. So Bishop of Binding. That's definitely a nice one. Definitely a good removal card, and it gets bigger, which is really cool. Um, it's nice, but I doubt we'll be seeing many token decks. It's a nice surprise trick, but nothing super amazing. Also a nice surprise trick to kind of help out with blowouts or other things. Can be big. Burning Sun's Avatar is also nice. It's just a little bit harder to cast and to carry through. And then Path of Metal, if you can flip it, it's great. So if we have a lot of, um, first strike, double strike, vigilance, or haste creatures, that'll be great. But otherwise it might not be completely worth it to toss in. Though if we are red and white, it might be good to side it in against merfolk or other vampire decks. So let's start looking through the rest of what we have. So the sun-crested dino is definitely nice. Pretty cool to get a little bit of a buff from that, especially because it's not just until end of turn. That's an okay card. It's not amazing, especially if you don't have dinos, but it could be serviceable. The Bishop Binding, definitely. Passivism for 3 is worth it. 2/2 Vigilance for 2 is worth it. And Sunkeeper can be an option, but it's not something I'm hoping to play. So white is looking a little thin for us so far. So it's not quite as good as, say, an Era Elemental, but the hexproof makes it really good. So it's definitely worth to toss those in there. So bounce and unblockable is definitely nice. Also another bounce creature. To hold the grounds, it's playable. It could easily get cut. A 2/5 for 4 isn't amazing. 2/2 for 4 with flash isn't worth it unless there's a lot of tokens. So we can keep that in the sideboard for now. Another pacifism thing, those work pretty well, and it's nice that it taps it for it, or for you, so that you don't have to worry. So it is fairly close to a decent pacifism. Drawing cards is nice if the raid works. Treasure is always good, and it can stall out the ground if we need. Another bounce, so we could be doing a lot of blue tempo stuff here. Not the biggest fan of Shorekeeper. If we need it, we can toss it in, but an 0/3 for 1 isn't that amazing. Little combat trick can be good, but easily can be cut. And then we could toss the Mistcloak Herald in because, once again, it is an unblockable, so there's the possibility that we can do something with it. Yep, Land Hate is not quite good enough. Anointed Deacon can be good if we have more vampires. We'll just have to see how that goes. Dust Charger can be weak, but Ascend doesn't seem too hard to get, so it could be worth it. But again, it might just be a filler card that we end up cutting. It's also another passable card, but it's nothing that I'm super excited about. Not too excited about the recovers. Hopefully I'm not taking things from the graveyard too much. The draw card is nice. Reaver Ambush is definitely worth it. Gruesome Fate if we are in vampires heavily and we've got a lot of tokens and everything, that's good, but for now it doesn't seem worth it. Could also be good for pirates, but not as good because you usually don't overwhelm pirates quite as much. 3/3 for 3 with the possibility of losing 2 life. Not an ideal card, so the Dire Fleet Poisoner is definitely worth it. Castaways can be good. The Paladin is worth it. Heartstopper is worth it. 1 or 2 of the Grasping Scoundrels can be good, and Blight Keeper can be okay. So black, I was hoping would be a little bit stronger, is a little bit weaker than expected. So let's keep moving on to see what we have. Looks like we've got a lot of red here. So the Burning Sun, if we can cast it, will be good. That's definitely nice. A weird form of double strike just to players. Could be fine. 4 for 5. Not ideal, but could be worth it. It's a little too cost heavy, but there's an option to play Pirate's Pillage. Forerunner of the Empire can definitely be helpful for what we're looking to do. Brazen Buccaneers is not great. It's a little too cost heavy. 5/5 for 4 is definitely good, especially if you're aggressive. Sorry, we're getting in the way a little bit here. Shake the Foundation doesn't quite seem worth it. Rummaging Goblin could be good as just a filter. Frilled Death Spitter is definitely nice. Bombard, any sort of removal is quite worth it. Thalia's Knight, or Tenalia's, or however you pronounce it, Knight is good. This has definitely been annoying when I've had it before, and if you do have an 8 in Rage, it can trigger that and be very annoying. The Raptor is pretty good. Sea Red is an option. It's not quite ideal, but if we keep going hyper aggressive, it might be good. Raptor Hatchling is good. 2/1 for 2 Menace is definitely worth it. Buccaneers Bravado could see play. Mutiny definitely seems nice for it. Obviously it requires them to have creatures on the board, but it's an optional form of removal. And when I've played it against it in the past, it definitely did some work against me. Thundering Spineback, if you can cast it, is pretty nasty. Deadmaw is a solid big fatty. Overgrown Emissar is pretty solid. The Sailback is a good combat trick. Most people see it, but it's an option. Hunt the Weak is great removal. This would be better in a Merfolk deck, and it doesn't seem like we've got Merfolk support right now. So we'll hold off on it to see if we can find, if we have any other Merfolk. 3 points of attack or defense for 3 isn't bad, so we can definitely toss that in. Plummet is a good sideboard card that we can bring in later on if we need. 2-1 for 2 that explores is well worth it. The hardy veterans are pretty nice. And the deep root warrior is very good. And it looks like we've got enough support for the forerunner of the heralds, so we can toss that in if we want. Looking at some of the multicolored, this pirate looks pretty nice. Path of Metal looks good, but it's unlikely that we're going to go red-white, so there's a chance that that's just not going to make it because we won't be in the colors that we need for it. Gilded Sentinel is not good. Pirate's Cutlass can be good, especially if you're running pirates for it. Not as thrilled by the relic. It's an alright board stall and way to get a few things for the future. The Prying Blade is pretty sweet to just keep getting some treasure to cast things later on. Blue-green, blue-white extras. And the Evolving Wilds is very nice. And just more dual lands. So, as much as I like the Bishop of Binding, I just don't think we have the support unless we splash white just for it, which is an option, but I want to see what the rest is. So let's get rid of white for now. Black is pretty weak, but it does have a few nice things. We've got the Reaver Ambush, which is always good. And I thought we had one more removal spell in here, but we might not. Yeah, I was wrong. So we only have the one removal spell, so that's definitely make me think that we want to get it out of here quick, just because it's not going to be quite what we want. We do have a few nice smaller things, but it's just not going to have the depth that we need, because anything over pretty much 3 mana is just not good, and even a lot of the 1-drops aren't good. So it's just the 2 rare pirates and the Reaver Ambush. So I'm going to cut that for us now. And yes, I put that in the wrong slot. I'm also going to get rid of the Path of Metal for now. So that leaves us with red, which I think is a strong possibility because it gives us Bombard. It gives us the 2 Mutinies, which are pretty good. And just a lot of other quality creatures, as long as we could keep casting it. Nothing quite amazing, like a ferocious Ferocidon or whatever it's called would have been really nice. But there's just some decent, nice aggressive cards in here. So that leaves it with blue or green for us to continue with it. I'm not seeing a major synergy or tribal effect between the two. But the flyers are nice and can work with the tempo. We've got a lot of the bounce stuff, which can just help. And so that might make sense more to carry with. But it is a little bit weaker. Because if we can hold off to get the Thundering Spine back and the Burning Sun Avatar, that's pretty nice. Sadly, of course, we don't have any acceleration, but it's possible to get to 7 mana without it, especially if we get things like Prying Blade going on. And the rest of the top end for this isn't too hard to get to. It gives us more access to removal, which blue does have as well. But the Hunt the Weak is nice, and then it does have the Merfolk. But as I look through things again here, there is a chance that the bounce and the removal for blue, and the card draw, and a few of the um, treasure creators might beat out the green. And maybe I splash in Hunt the Weak for it. Or if I splashed anything, I could splash in the Bishop of Binding, as well as the Luminous Bonds from white, instead of just Hunt the Weak. Um, so that might be the way to go, and then if we do keep the Prying Blade, since there are a few unblockable things, uh, it'll be easier to ramp up to the treasure. Not that the blue-red needs it as much, because the top end would be 6. We would have a few 5 drops in here, but it wouldn't be as crazy. So for now, let's get rid of the green and just look at what we have with the blue-red. So sort this out by converted mana cost. Seems like a decent curve, though we have 32 cards, 1 land, so we need to cut quite a few things, almost 8-ish, 9-ish cards or so. So let's see what we decide to get rid of here. Without looking too hard, I don't think we have too much for sea legs. This is good on the other way, but it might not be as strong as some of the other cards, so we can drop that out for now. Sworn Guardian, we're looking to push things and not block as much, so we can get rid of that. Keeping the Mistcloak Herald will be good for things like Prying Blade. Raid will definitely probably be triggering. Sailor with the Means. Again, we're not looking to block as much, but it'll be nice to have the treasure artifact. We're pretty weak on Merfolk, but that's only for the flash portion, where this will give us some tempo for it, and it gives us card draw. 2-5 for 4 just doesn't quite seem worth it with what we're trying to do here. The bounce and the unblockable is definitely nice. Oh, but of course it's a creature we control. Some of the small things are definitely fine to bounce for it, so it is an option. We are definitely creature heavy, so the Bonded Horncrest should be okay for us. This gets us dinos, which is good. There is a chance that I could kill a lot of our stuff, but it's a May, so I think it's a worthy risk. The downside of the Bonded Horncrest might not be worth it, so that might be something that we take out just to get us down to where we need to go. I like the Cutlass, but we don't have a lot of pirates in this deck. We've got 1, 2... 2 so far. 3. 3 pirates and some slightly beefier things. So the Cutlass might not be quite worth it, though again it's good on the Storm Sculptor, the Herald, and some of our flyers. So I might keep it in and remove something else. As much as I like looting, it might be worth it to get rid of that. Tuscadon is good. Stampeding Horncrest. It's not amazing, so we can cut that out of our top end. I think that helps our curve a little bit more. So now we're at 27 non-land cards, and we need to get down to around 26, no, not 26, 23. So we need to cut 3 more things. The Raptor can be annoying for people, and the Trample is good. I definitely lost due to a math problem for it in the past, which was a bummer. I like this because it does let me search for the dinos that we have. It's not great on its own, but I think it does have a place. You know, we could use it to tutor for the Avatar, which isn't the most amazing bomb, but, you know, it's got some nice things going on for it. The Sprinter is also good, so that's definitely why I want to keep the Cutlass and the Prying Blade. This just seems nice with what we have, but I guess it could be cut. But we do have some pirates, some of them unblockable, which is nice. And then the 1-1 in first strike is definitely good as a combat trick. We could cut that if we need to, but it seems like a solid option. The mutinies, I think there's almost always going to be a place for these, because even if we just take out smaller threats from their big threats, it's good. And considering that we're looking for a tempo thing, I think this just helps us out a little bit because it's cheap and can help get us through, even though it might be dead a few times. But if there isn't too much on the board, then hopefully we're ramming through anyway. I guess we could take out the crown. It's nice for things like the Death Splitter. I don't think we have too many other rage options, but also tossing that on some of these other ones is good. But it is weaker compared to the Prying Blade and the Pirate's Cutlass. And if we are trying to make space, we can get rid of that. And the Buccaneer's Bravado is a little bit more flexible and can be a good combat trick. And, you know, if we get something like the Sprinter, toss that on it, we could all of a sudden be dealing 6 damage with a double strike. And if we're lucky to have the Cutlass on there, it just keeps adding up quite a bit. I don't want to drop out too many more low drops here, though. And we do have some merfolks. Not a ton. 2. As much as I like the bounce, we do have some other options here. So it might be worth it to dump this. Just as we find slots. So without the land, we've got 24 cards so far. I don't think we're low enough to completely run a 16 mana deck here, so I think we need to cut out just one more thing. Alright, let's take out the Buccaneers Bravado. I like it, it sounds good, but this gets us where we need to go. I'm a little sad by the lightness of our 2-drops, um, but that's going to be what it's going to be. Um, and instead we'll have these other options to pull up for, and we do have